No, I think Celine, they don't go deep in it. I think Celine was in love with Zera, probably. Or she felt something for Zera. I think that final line really makes me think so. I totally believe that, because, again, something else they, bring into perspective is Grandis is dead, right? Grandis is dead, Valmar is, like, coming. The Day of Darkness is here. Valmar, like, the way I think of it is there's a sense of despair to the world. And people are like, oh, Valmar is, like, the only answer. Until, like, a certain story point happens with Ryudo, which is the opposite of that. But right now, in the state of the story right now, Valmar is here. And Valmar is, like, the despair. Like, the people are, like, basically giving up, for the most part. The large collective. To a sense. Except Zera, who wants to, like, revive Valmar. But now, like, what do the people believe? Like, you know, when Grandis is actually dead. Like, the world is torn apart at this point. Yeah, I think there was some unrequited love between Zera and... Or, well, it was one-sided, obviously, but Celine to Zera. Kind of like Wild Arms 2, Antinora was her name, the woman of Odessa. Well, she more, like, wanted revenge. That was more of, like, a revenge story. That wasn't really, like... She didn't love... What was his name? I can't remember his name. Vincefeld, that's his name. She didn't really love Vincefeld. She just wanted to make Vincefeld fall in love with her and get revenge for, like... Make him feel pain or whatever. So that's completely different. Where she kind of had a play. She was like, it was all an act to a sense. While Celine is actually like, was actually in love with Zera. To a sense. At least that's what I think, based on that one line. The final line where she says her final words in her final breath. I think Celine just obviously would do what Zera tells her to because, you know, she's madly in love with Zera. Celine's an interesting character. I think the way they use her in the game brings up some interesting questions about the themes of the game. She complements the game and themes really well.
Sworn enemies, you shall be defeated.
Yeah, she was devoted to Zera.
Take that.
Not once does Celine show care for Grandis. It's all about Zera, if you, like, pay attention to her dialogue.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Celine's a really interesting character to talk about because it brings on interesting questions based on the themes of the game. She's like one of the best written villains, I think, personally.
These fangs.
Story of Grandia 2 is nothing revolutionary, it's executed extending. Yeah, I agree. Exactly. Basically, 100% agree with that. It's nothing new, nothing revolutionary. It does a nice spin on its themes. When you play Grandia 2, if you play a game that's similar to Grandia 2's like core story, you will get a different experience out of Grandia 2. It does enough different that it's not copy and pasted from other games. What it does with its story is what I like. Like, the core story is, you know, nothing new, but it's really great. Plot twist included.
Lotus
She was a
flower.
Roto man who only used her as a tool for his goal. I wouldn't call her a villain. I mean, she's a villain in the context of the story. You can get really specific about what a villain is. A villain is just someone who is not on your side. I get it. I get what you're saying. She's not really a villain. I mean, you only fought her the one time as the Heart of Zera. But, I mean, she's a villain in the sense of, like, you know, she's not your friend. She's an antagonist to the sense. She is an opposing person of the main characters. I mean, Gaius from Tales of Xillia is a villain, and he's not like an all-bad guy. Gaius just has different beliefs from Mila and Jude, along with Muse. Muse and Gaius just have different beliefs. They're still villains because they're like the villains of their game. They're still opposing the main characters. I mean, I still consider Selene a villain, despite everything. Cancel. Antagonists and villains are interchangeable. So I called her a villain and she's an antagonist. Antagonist is basically a villain. It's like you're comparing apples and oranges, or however the saying goes. It doesn't really matter. Villains, antagonists, same difference.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Maybe antagonist would be the better word to use, but calling her a villain isn't really wrong. If you're saying, like, oh, this is why she's not a villain, etc., then you're kind of, like, reaching a bit. Like, sure, antagonist might be a better word to use. I don't think villain is necessarily incorrect.
Tensei can slash!
By the way, I've been on autopilot for like 10 minutes as I talk about this stuff, which is really fun. Die.
These guys were no real challenge.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, like, I mean, maybe antagonist would be the better word, sure, but I'm not gonna... I would still call her a villain. I just would probably use antagonist instead. But I mean, like, I don't think calling her a villain is incorrect. Tio. See if this works. Alright, I gotta stop being on autopilot because I'll die because of it.
White.
Alright, Crackling killed. Good.
Red. Eliminated.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Just plague. Vaccine, right? Ba-ba-bum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum.
Lotus flower. Bloom.
Another, like, example, this isn't exactly the same thing, but Lean from Grandia 1. is similar. I guess Mullen to an extent, but more lean. Because Mullen and Lean, mostly Lean, like, you never fight Lean. And you're never really against Lean, she's just on the opposing side. And also, if you play Grandia 1, later in the game, things open up. And it's like, oh yeah, Ball is doing some secret stuff with Gaia, and Mullen and Lean don't know anything of it. Neither do any of the Garlau soldiers like Nanasaki and Mio. So Mullen and Lean are, like, technically not villains, but they're on the opposing side. And they're on the opposite side, so to that sense they are. Like, yeah, you wouldn't really, like, consider them bad people, but they're on the opposing side. They oppose the main characters. Mullen to a lesser extent, because Mullen is more... Justin and Mullen have more, like, moments of, like, being in each other's way and stuff, while Lean is just kind of there, and they're dealing with the stuff with Fina being her sister and everything. So, I think Mullen and Lean are of a similar case, where they're not villains per se, but they're antagonists and they're on the opposing side and stuff, so you just consider them villains and stuff. But again, I mean, if you're... I think it's fine to be like, oh yeah, you know what? I call them antagonists. That's fine. But I don't think it's fine to criticize calling them villains. If someone says like, oh, hey, the villains of the game, and you're like, oh, actually, they're not villains, they're antagonists, I think that's going a little too far. Like, there's no point of that. It's one thing to be like, oh, antagonist is a better word to use, but criticizing the use of the word villain when they're not villains, when basically villain and antagonist are similar, is just a little unnecessary. Like, your reasonings make sense, but, I mean, villain isn't incorrect, in my opinion. But I'm honestly done talking about this. I just wanted to draw that line with, Mullen and Lean, because I think the Mullen and Lean scenario is similar to the whole Celine bit. It's another parallel for Grandia 1 and 2.
Lotus flower, bloom.
Ba, 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 bum.
Lotus flower, bloom. You picked on the wrong people.
Salamander tail. I do agree, though, that antagonist is a better term to use. That's, like... Really, this discussion is basically over, because I agree that antagonist is the better term to use, but, like... You know. Black belts. So I'm not technically disagreeing with... Ba-ba-bum. I'll be with you guys in a minute. Alright, you know what? Now I'm gonna be with you.
Lotus flower, bloom.
Bloom. Oh, get defense loss. You get 4 attacks, so a high chance of getting that defense loss.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Plus, I think you said it in one of your comments, it's a philosophical debate and stuff, so I mean, yeah. If you look deep into the nitty-gritty of it, yeah, antagonist and villain have different meanings. But for all intents and purposes, they're basically... It wouldn't be a wrong thing to say, oh, hey, the villain of the game, despite them being not a villain and an antagonist, is where I will... is my final thought on this discussion.
Sworn enemies, you shall be defeated! Take that! Sky Dragon Slash!
Here's a question. Are you going to give me another save point? I don't know if that's like the halfway save point or the end save point. I guess we'll find out.
These guys were no real challenge.
We still got a good bit to go, actually. Oh, a helmet. Sometimes reflects damage. Only for Ryudo and what's his face? Merrig. Give this to Merrig for now.
Lotus flower. Bloom.
You can max out Sky Dragon Slash for your points? I can, that's right. We are gonna max it out soon though. I talked about this before, but I like to hoard my points. Especially at this point of the game, where it's just like we're so close to the end and I don't really know what to use my points on anyway. I just hoard my points and use them. But yeah, we are able to max it out, I think, at this point. Die. I'm also waiting till we get Elena back, because I don't know if I'm going to want to do stuff with her points at this point. We only have 3 characters, so that's another reason where I kind of want to hold off. Elena or Millennia, I want to maybe do stuff with their points. With their skills, rather. Full potion. That's my second one.
Lotus flower. Bloom.
Ba, 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 bum. Oh, that direct is tomorrow. I hope we get some good announcements. I don't know what time it starts. I gotta look. I might want to watch it, depending on when it starts. Actually, no. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah, no, I'm gonna be busy tomorrow. I can't watch it. There's no chance. I do hope we get some good stuff. I need more games to look forward to this year.
Sky, take flight!
You can watch what? Oh, there's a Nintendo Direct tomorrow.
Here goes! Flying Tensei Ken!
Like a 40-minute showcase where they show like new games and stuff coming out. Remasters, games, anything. Anything coming to the Switch, basically. I don't know when it starts though, but I doubt I'm gonna be able to watch it. Unless it's like in the morning. If it's in the morning, I might be able to watch it. Unless it's like
practice if you want to be.
Unless it's like before 12, I can watch it. Probably. Other than that, I'll have to not watch it, but I would like to watch it if I can, if I know what time it starts. No, no, no. Leave me. Actually, you know what? Give me a fight.
Lotus flower. Bloom.
Ba-ba-ba-bum-bum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Die.
Hardly worthy of my notice.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum.